And we are back with another episode of From the Rafters. Sam and I are here recording Friday, May 13th, 11 p.m. after the Celtics won Game 6 versus the Bucks in Milwaukee. Pretty convincing win. There were times when the Bucks battled back, but it was exactly what you needed from the Celtics after the embarrassing loss in Game 5. And we're getting a Game 7 in TD Garden. Sam, Game 7 in Boston. You
Well,
love to
this was the story. This was home court.
Yep.
Milwaukee punts away the last game of the regular season. The Celtics win the last game of the regular season, and they end up with home court. Here we are, and now it matters. Even though
Huge.
it kind of doesn't matter because the Celtics have a losing record at home in this series, but for all intents and purposes, it kind of matters.
Yeah,
As far as the emotions going into tonight's game, we had a pod yesterday. Yesterday we did a pod. Wow.
we did. Yeah.
Rapid fire. Um,
Yes.
but we discussed, how we felt after game 5. And I don't know what it was. I had some cautious optimism just with how certain guys,
Tatum.
yeah, Tatum specifically handled the post game. And the man went out there and scored 46 points on shooting
Domination.
over 50% from the field, which is like
Amazing.
chef's
Just
kiss, fantastic. That
beautiful.
is the dream, to have guys score efficiently. Also, Marcus Smart played really well. I didn't get to watch the entire game. I was scoreboard watching for the first half, but I did see the second half. But to my understanding, he had a very big first quarter, which is good because
14 points.
they were on Marcus's ass. Deservedly so. It wasn't completely
Yeah.
his fault, but he was a part of the meltdown, unfortunately. But he responded. He came out and played really well and finished with a great stat line, 21.7 assists, right? And he shot 50% from the field. He looked pretty good. Jaylen Brown had 20 plus 22, I think. They got scoring all around. The only guy scoring for Milwaukee was Giannis, and then Connaughton there when every single shot he took mattered, and he made
He's a
every one
beast,
that
man.
mattered.
He's a beast.
That guy, man, he needs to play for the Celtics one day, but that's neither here nor there. What is here is that they won Game 6. That is something else. And before we recorded on yesterday, on Thursday, when you're listening to this, it won't be yesterday anymore.
Yeah.
I was after Game 5, I was thinking, do I even want them to win Game 6? This is immediately after, minutes after they blow this lead, because I'm like, do I really want to get hopeful just for them to kick me in the balls again? And here we are. We have hope again. As fans, we have hope.
Do you still wish they lost Game 6, Sam?
No. And I didn't I wish that yesterday. I had this cautious optimism about it. I don't know. I just think the way they all kind of came out and took responsibility and didn't seem to have their heads down too much after that, even though everyone else did, including me, including you.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of said something to me. And we'll get, probably quotes coming out soon about today. I haven't been on Twitter since I sat down at home, but that'll be something to look at as well. It's just something else, man. This series has been something else. And I always, before we completely move on, just because I want to complain, I have to complain, of course. That's what I do. I really, really cannot stand people like neutral fans that are like, oh, this is the greatest. Because it's not.
I mean,
it's horrible.
It really
living it is not fun, because
I'm having a great time.
Well, today I'm having a great time. Yesterday I was not. So that's how it goes with this thing. Neutrals are just having a grand old time.
This is probably the best series in the NBA in a long time. Realistically speaking, this is probably one of the best series they've had in the last 5 years. I'm trying to think of probably that. Obviously, the finals, the Cavs Warriors was an amazing series because of the story. But every game in this series, green glasses off, has been a battle. And from neutral fans' perspective, like you said, it's been everything you could have asked for from a series. This is everything that people wanted from the Nets Celtics series. And you're getting it Celtics Bucks, although the basketball is very physical, very not fun. My mom talked to me. She doesn't really watch basketball. She comes in, she goes I don't like that Giannis guy. All he does is run into people. I'm like, yeah, that's just. She's like, I watched it for 2 minutes and just watched him bulldoze 3 guys and got and no
Oh
calls,
my
and I was just
god.
like, "What? What's wrong?"
One adult male shot near MLK and Highland as the Bucks game ends. This is Wisconsin news.
Oh,
Oh my
whoa,
god.
that's where'd you see that?
It's on I'll send it to the group chat on Twitter. Oh my god. That's
Jeez,
horrible.
man. Yeah. Well, shit.
That
Excuse us for the pause. That's
is
wow. Yeah,
sorry.
that's wild. Oh man. Is it just fans? Yeah, it's just fans leaving the arena.
Look at it. And
Jeez.
Milwaukee also has like the outdoor fan section,
Yeah,
which I
yeah,
think is
yeah.
really cool, but after something like this, they might put a nail in that. They might call that. I don't know. This is something to
Yeah,
keep an
wow.
eye on.
Yeah, we'll keep
But
tabs on it.
anyways, we don't have to focus on that too much. I
No.
mean,
Wow. That's horrible
like
though.
that is I don't know if that's really ever happened after a sporting event.
He probably has, but not in recent memory. Anyways, we'll keep you
We can
updated on
steer
that. I
away
think
from that, but
yeah.
we hope
We can
everyone's all
talk.
right.
Yes, of course. We can talk Jayson Tatum. Obviously 46 points in the brightest lights. The Celtics were kind of blowing it. You got nervous there in the fourth quarter when the Bucks began to storm back. Giannis hit
I
a
took
three. He had a couple
insurance.
annoying ones. He did.
I took insurance
Uh,
last game too, but it didn't take the sting off. I
not
took
much
it at the
could.
incorrect time. But
Marcus
today, fine.
Marcus Smart after the game said that's about Jason Tatum. That's why he gets paid the big bucks for moments like that. That I mean that just hits the nail on the head. Like that's what you're paying Tatum for. That's what he's expected to be. He came through. He's the second Celtic ever with multiple 45 plus point playoff games. The other is Sam Jones. Like he's in an elite club. He's like if he wins a title here, he's going to go down as one of the best Celtics ever, and that's not an easy
Right.
club to be in. Like he's
Exactly.
doing things that you haven't seen from a Celtics since Paul Pierce in the playoffs. And I know this is just the second round, but this is like I said earlier, like the best playoff series we've seen in a while. The best playoff series the Celtics have been in a while since that probably that Cavs series from Tatum's rookie year. And
Yeah.
now it's
Yeah,
like
probably.
he's stepping up. He's showing the maturity, and our guy PJ, shout
Toronto
out
series
PJ
was good
Gear.
too.
Yeah, shout out PJ Gear. He said this to me. No, he didn't say this to me. He was texting me about the game, but my buddy Jack Kelly, who works for Hoops Habit, he messaged me. He goes, "The thing I like from Tatum is the maturity. How while he was hot, Ime Udoka drew up a play to get Brown an open look instead of like feeding Tatum. They kind of used Tatum as the decoy, and that there really just shows everything Tatum's grown to be in the NBA. He's passing well, he's scoring well, he's rebounding well, which was huge this game. But over everything else, he hits the shots when you need him to, and this was Jason Tatum in a nutshell. And the Celtics needed it more than ever, and he delivered.
Yeah, and at the very bare bones of it, it's what the Celtics need out of Jason Tatum in a nutshell. And he filled it. He filled all the expectations today. He
Yeah,
was clutch down the stretch. They needed that because Milwaukee was climbing back. They got it to 4. Connaughton was making every big shot. Giannis made a 3. Didn't even hit the rim, his 3.
yeah, brutal.
That is scary stuff. But Tatum came down and made big shot after big shot. And to be honest with you, some of the possessions he made shots on were not good possessions, and he made up for it. He made big shots. They needed that. They didn't have that in game 5. Yeah, game 5. They had it today. And on top of all of that, Tatum was excellent. But it shows me that they as a team learned from their mistakes.
Yeah,
I believe Ime
they did.
Udoka said that despite the little flurry Milwaukee had, the team as a whole was playing much better basketball. I didn't really see any offensive rebounds being given up, which is good. And as far as the offense goes, if the ball was sticking, guys were still moving off the ball. And I mean, if it wasn't sticking, it was zipping around. They did a pretty good job at moving it.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, um, Marcus Smart said this after the game too. He said that's the most poised we've ever been, which is like everything we've been asking for from the Celtics all season long, from the 2021 Celtics when they were blowing leads, and then we didn't really see it in the second half of the season because they were just blowing people out. Uh, you need that composure to win a championship, and they did it against a team that was full force running at them, trying to make another comeback for the second game in a row, and Celtics stared it in the face, made big shots, made big stops, did what they needed to do, and they got the job done. That's the key right there. They got the job done, which is just massive. Game 6. Um, Derrick White too needs a shout out. I know you didn't get to watch the whole game, but I'm sure you saw plenty of plays from him in the
Right.
second half. Just potentially his best game as a Boston
He
Celtic,
has turned it
especially because this is
around
the moment.
in
He was
these.
amazing.
What was it? Well, it was game 2 that Marcus was not in, and people were really counting on Derrick White for a big offensive output, and he didn't really give you that, but he
Hmm.
was still effective. Ever since then, he's found his footing. He's been really good. You can trust him to make the right decisions. You can trust him to make shots. Right now, he's making threes. I mean, I don't know what the box score is now. I could be making an ass out of myself, but Derrick White, 1 of 5 from 3 tonight. Well done, Sam. But before
Well, no,
tonight,
no.
he
Well,
had made some big shots.
I was just gonna say that. Those same people that always complain, "Oh, Derrick White can't shoot the ball." This is the game to look at when I keep saying over and over again, it's more than that. It's so much more than making threes and making shots because he didn't shoot well. I was gonna bring this up. I was gonna say, Sam, guess what he shot? Because most people would say, "Oh, he had an efficient night. He did everything." No, he didn't shoot the ball well, but it didn't matter because he made plays on the offensive end. He didn't even
Mhm.
have that many assists. He had 2 assists, but he got into the paint, which is something no other Celtic could do. Like he was the only player on the Celtics that could get into the paint like consistently. Every play, whenever he touched the ball, even if he didn't get like the chance at a pump fake, like sometimes you see it pump fake and then get into the lane. Even when that wasn't happening, he would find a way around his defender, get into the lane, and either make a big shot, move the ball, get an assist, or just find more offense. Like he controlled the pace so well tonight. Tonight as we're recording this, obviously, and it came up clutch, like 9 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, uh, 2 offensive rebounds. Like the rebounding was huge from Derrick White. It was huge as the team. Bobby Portis still kind of killed him on the offensive glass a little bit, but as a whole, they only had 7 offensive rebounds in this one. The Celtics won the offensive rebounding battle. Like that's a massive improvement,
That's
obviously, from Game
massive,
5.
not only after what we all saw on Wednesday night, but also that Rob didn't play. That was
Yes.
one thing we saw a lot on Twitter today, was people saying, "Oh my gosh, Rob is out." And to me, that didn't make
Yeah.
a difference. I'm at the point where I'm assuming he's not playing in this series, which is fine because one, when he was playing, he was kind of being exploited to an extent, and two, they figured out how to play without him in terms of rotating Tice in there and allowing other guys to rest. Three, they oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. I'm
Losing
sorry.
it.
They won the rebounding battle offensively tonight. They figured it out without having to plug him in on how to get offensive rebounds. That's a
Yeah,
big hurdle they overcame.
you needed it. You needed it, and they did it. It was more rough in the first half. Hopefully, the numbers back that up. Yeah, they had 4 offensive rebounds in the first half and 2 in the second half. Like, so the Celtics did what they needed to do when it mattered, and that's the key of a championship team. I mean, there isn't enough you can say about Jayson Tatum. Jaylen Brown had a good night too. He hit his threes, which was a huge thing you need from Jaylen Brown. 22 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 of 7 from three. Marcus Smart, 5 of 9 from three, which is amazing. Jayson Tatum took 15 threes, which I know you don't love, but he made 7 of them. So can't really complain when he's making 7 of them, and most of them are
He was
clutch too.
fine. And let's look in the fourth quarter, because that, first of all, that's one of the quarters I got to watch. But on the other hand, he was just fantastic. He had 16 points in the fourth. 2 of 3 from 3.
Yeah.
To me, that's such a big accomplishment because he didn't force
Mhm.
threes. I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot of times Tatum will he'll force tough shots in clutch situations. I mean, he makes them once in a while, but today it felt like he was in control every time he shot the ball. Even possessions where he was taking it down to the end of the shot clock, he had the matchup he wanted. He had the height
Mhm.
advantage. He was doing rhythm dribbles to get his timing down, whatever it takes to make shots like that. Things guys do to help themselves shoot better. He was able to do all those things. He wasn't taking tough turnarounds,
Mhm.
fallaways. He made some tough ones. He did. He had to make a tough one when the ball went out of bounds and Connaughton grabbed it, and they had 2 seconds. He made a tough turnaround, but he wasn't doing that on just any possession. That was a situational shot he made. He didn't make it hard on himself,
Yeah,
and the
no, I
team
mean,
followed suit. Yeah.
sorry, I was looking
No,
at something
that was
else real
me. I
quick.
paused for way too long.
No, yeah, yeah. Tatum
I'm
was
laboring.
perfect. I mean, Tatum was everything you need him to be, and I think that's just that sums it up. Like that's why Jayson Tatum is Jayson Tatum. That's who you need Jayson Tatum to be. He Tatum was Tatuming, as they say on Twitter, and that's exactly it. I also wanted to give credit to Marcus Smart. Like we briefly mentioned it, but he was phenomenal. Like even outside the 3-point shooting, which was obviously great, he's making plays, and in particular, his defense on Giannis was amazing. You know, drawing offensive fouls when you need him to. Derrick White did as well, drew a charge on Giannis. Grant Williams almost did until it got overturned.
Which was
Which
the correct call.
yeah, it was the correct call. It was a block, but no, yeah, Marcus Smart deserves all the credit in the world. He said in his post game interview just now, he was like, I didn't really sleep after game 5. Like that haunted me. That was just like I was pissed. I not every right to be. He played poorly in those few minutes, but he brought it back in a big way, and he was probably the second best player in this game, like behind Jayson Tatum, which is huge for Marcus Smart. Al Horford's kind of fallen out
Well,
of
on this side, Giannis
yeah.
wasn't bad.
Yeah. Yeah. No, my point is Marcus Smart was great. And now we can talk about Al Horford too, though, because the defense on Giannis was all right. Uh Giannis obviously played great. My biggest thing is though, Al has kind of stopped making shots, which is not me complaining about Al because he's not gonna put up
Al
30
Horford
every
has
night, but
stopped taking shots. He only shot 6
that
times.
too. It's because those shots didn't go in. He was 0 for 4 from 3. you know,
Yes.
he's not going to take a bunch of them, which is good, right? At least he's smart. At least he knows not to take a bunch of shots when he's cold. But do you make anything of that, or do you think he's just cold?
Some days you have off days. To me, it doesn't matter as long as other guys are picking up the slack. If you want to talk about someone to be concerned about, you say Grant, because
Yeah,
Grant has been off for the last 4 games maybe.
yeah. Grant's been struggling big time ever since game 2 when he was phenomenal. He's
Yeah,
been
ever
kind of
since people started
off.
gassing him up, he's been. I mean, he only took 3 shots today. Turned it over once. I mean, this. I'm just looking at the box score. I didn't get to intently watch this one. I'm sorry for that
No,
because
he was bad. He was rough. He was doing everything that I was mentioning on the last podcast. I was kind of hesitating on the 3-point line a little bit, which you can't really do. He was doing too much with the ball inside again. It wasn't as bad as in game 5 because I think he cut it back. Defensively, he also just hasn't been the same on Giannis because Horford's been the better defender of Giannis over the course of the series. Grant had one good game, but yeah, man, Grant's just I don't want to say he's fallen off, but I think the confidence is he's lacking a little bit there. So you kind of need to find other production. But good thing Derrick White is stepping up and taking those minutes away from Grant, which is the right call from the place of Ime Udoka. So hopefully you see more of that in the future. Derrick White played more minutes than Grant
Mm.
Williams in this one, and maybe that'll keep going. So
Well,
yeah,
also, I think throughout the series, correct me if I'm wrong, that like 4 guard or 4. Let me rephrase this. One big lineup has played
it's
really well.
common. Yeah.
They've been the squad out there that takes over and helps the Celtics go on runs. Now, part of that
Mhm.
obviously is because they've only got one big out there, meaning Milwaukee probably only has Giannis out there or Brook Lopez out there
Yeah.
playing alone, and it's making it easier to get in the paint. I'm not really sure who's dictating that, though. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure if Brook Lopez is sitting because of that lineup or
Or
they're
they're
just
playing the lineup
choosing.
because Brook Lopez is sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's interesting. By the way, Zoe's mom was asking me today. She goes, "How is Brooke Lopez able to play in this NBA?" She's
Yeah,
basically
I
saying what you were
agree.
saying.
Yeah, the guy's, like, physically inept. Like, I don't know, he can't move, but he's,
Yeah.
like, making an impact. Not
Well,
today, but
the
throughout the
thing, the
series, he
way
has.
the way I explained it is Milwaukee's defense is basically if you can get by Brook Lopez, you can get in the paint, but nobody can really get by Brook Lopez because he just stands down there. He's just a tree, right? Like he
Yeah.
doesn't have to do anything else because that's what Milwaukee's defense is. They're open to giving up 3-point shots because they will take away everything at the rim. So Brook Lopez doesn't have to be as as mobile as most bigs in the NBA nowadays have to be. So, and it works. I mean, it works for Brook Lopez. It works for the Bucks. So keep doing it. It is what it is. Yeah. There's something else. What was I going to say? Oh, we have to talk about Giannis. I mean, I know Celtics won the game, but Giannis was just in like
He had
44
what,
points.
17 in the first?
Yes, he did. 44 points, 20 rebounds, 6 assists. He's the only person ever with a 40-point, 20 rebound game other than Shaq, and he's the only one ever to do it with at least 6 assists. Like he's unlike anything we've ever seen. He's a borderline top 20 player all time. Like he is one of the greatest NBA players that has ever played. And the Celtics won. So like that's a huge accomplishment for the Celtics to win a game. And we were talking about how game 3 or game whatever. I think 3 was Giannis's best game of the series. This was Giannis's best game of the series, and the Celtics won. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Well, I'll tell you what is I think you're right. I think, before the series, we talked a lot about this, what they should do with Giannis, how should they game plan for him, and you kind of said they shouldn't, which is closer to the correct thing. Like, I don't know if they're not game planning for him, but they're not overreacting to him, I think is the correct answer. It's best not to let all these other guys get going because that tends to be when he's most dangerous. When you play ample defense on the rest of the guys and you play ample defense on Giannis, things go okay. When you don't play any defense on the rest of the guys and you really throw all these bodies at Giannis, that's when things get bad because those other guys are getting easy looks. They're not
Mhm.
under pressure when they're shooting shots. And once they start making shots, the pressure really alleviates for Giannis. So in game 7, the Celtics need to really say, okay, Giannis beat us. Giannis beat
Yeah,
us.
yeah. And what I said this in the last podcast too. When Drew Holiday plays well, the Bucks win. Drew Holiday didn't really play well. I mean, he was
Right.
fine. He hit a couple big shots, but for the most part, like you didn't really hear much about Drew Holiday. Realistically speaking, in my opinion, Pat Connaughton was the second best player in this game. Like he was, he
He's
was, he's
I don't
good.
know
I
what his
mean, he's just
contract is or if it's close to being up, but if it is close, he's getting
this
himself
year.
some money.
He's a free agent.
Is
He has a
he?
player.
Well,
He has a he has a player option, but
he'll be
with the way
getting
he's
paid.
playing, yeah. I
Somebody's
saw
giving him money.
something. I wrote about it. There's someone said like if he did ever have interest in playing at home, this offseason would be the best time for it. Like
Really, for the
if he
Celtics?
if he had an option, because like he'd
He'd
obviously
fit.
have to. Yeah, he would. It would be the MLE. Like they would have to give him like the full taxpayer, but if he had an interest in coming to Boston, like he'd be the perfect guy to fit in this Celtics rotation. Like, and we're getting ahead of ourselves. Obviously, there's a series to talk about and other stuff, but I mean, I don't know about you. I'd love Pat Connaughton in Boston. Like he'd be he'd be
Yeah,
phenomenal if
if
he's
I'm
playing
calling a
like
guy a
this.
prick on the other team, that means he's good. So I agree, and I've always kind of leaned in that direction. I
Mhm,
just always kind of thought he'd be a good fit. Plays defense, shoots the three well, and
mhm.
I'm all for having local guys on the team. Who did we talk about before the season? We were like kind of
Bruce
throwing names
Brown,
around. Yeah, well, Bruce Brown's another one. There's somebody else in there that I was like, oh, that'd be
Nerlens
good,
Noel,
maybe.
MCW, Carter Williams.
Yeah, I think it was him. I was like, have him on the end of the bench
Yeah,
because it wouldn't really matter. He's long,
yeah.
but
He'd probably
yeah,
fit in this system. He can't shoot though.
yeah. But
Anyways,
Connaughton sure can. Every big shot he takes goes in.
shot form is so weird too. He doesn't even like load it up. He just grabs it and
He
goes.
doesn't have
Like
to.
he
That's
doesn't.
so weird.
It's amazing. You'd love to see it. I mean, he can throw 90 miles an hour too.
I don't love to see it. Not
He's a
right now. I
beast.
don't.
No, no, not right now. No, yeah, those were the Giannis, Drew Holiday, Pat Connaughton were the only Bucks to score in double digits though. Drew had an inefficient 17, Connaughton had a very efficient 14, and Giannis had 14 of 30 from the field,
For
which
him,
is
it's not
not bad, but
efficient.
yeah, not great for
For,
Giannis.
by
So
Giannis standards, that's not efficient, which is good. Good for the Celtics. If he's taking 30 shots to get how many he scored? 48?
40, 44, 44.
44?
Yeah.
Wait, how many points did Tatum have? 46?
Yeah. Tatum outscored him.
So why were you guys clowning the NBA in that tweet that they said 100 combined?
Come on, Stu.
Never mind. I'm going to stop talking. Listen, I've
Wow.
been up since 3. and it's
So for
11:30.
those wondering, the tweet said Tatum and Giannis combined for 100 points. And Sam thought the tweet was correct just now, even though
I did.
44 plus 46 is 90.
It,
But that's okay. You're tired. Long day,
listen,
long day,
I've been
long
up
day.
for a very long time.
Yes, sir.
I
Ugh.
was awake this morning before Jack had gone to bed yesterday.
Yes, this is true. This is a common occurrence. It might happen again today. You never know.
No, it will not. I will be sleeping
Oh, yes, you don't work at
well into
4
the
a.m.
morning.
There you go.
I
Oh
don't know how
man,
you
just
do that. Like, I just it's
I
just
mean, I don't
always
really.
remarkable to me. I mean, I've done it because I had to do the night shift, and I had friends that worked the morning, so I would go in. I wouldn't go in. I stayed late after game 4, and we did the show, and afterwards, I was just talking to those dudes for like an hour, hour and a half, and it was already Wednesday for them, or it was already Tuesday for them, and it was still my Monday. So
Yeah, it's
I
weird.
do feel that, but
Yep.
brutal. Did not sleep a lot last night, so I am fatigued. But enough about
Also,
me.
we
More
don't have
about
to
the
talk about
Rockets.
this often. Daniel Tice has been pretty good. In his limited minutes, he's been all right. He's not going to
I'm
get
a
much
Tice
run,
guy,
but
man. He played great in Game 5. I don't really know what he did today. I'm really sorry. I wish I
it
had more
wasn't much.
details
He only
on him.
played like 10 minutes, but he
2
shot
of
2 for
3, 4
3. He
point.
made a couple
Yeah,
tough
fine.
floaters. He was all right.
Good for Tice, man. I like Tice. And people, specifically my group of friends, like loves to rip Tice. They're like, dude, he sucks. I'm like, he's a third string, like big, like he's fine for what he is. Nobody's throwing him the max.
I mean,
He's
all,
fine, and he was great in the Brooklyn series because he had to fill in for Rob, and he did a great
yeah,
job.
all they're doing is they're matching minutes. Whenever Giannis comes out of the game, Tice goes in, and when Giannis is playing, Tice is out of the
Right.
game. That's all he's there for, and that's perfect.
That's part of the reason why they don't necessarily have to rush Rob back because they've figured out the rotations without him, and they figured
Yeah.
out what allows them to maintain a high level of defense without Rob there with the bodies they have. I mean, nobody's fouling out. Knock on wood. I mean, watch Sunday; they're all going to be sitting there watching.
Oh
But
God, please don't jinx it.
I knocked on the desk here. But it's really a good thing that Tice has been solid these last 2 games because if Rob isn't feeling well for game 7, which at this point I'm not sure he's going to, he's going to play again. It's going to be against Miami, and that's when they're going to need him. And he's going to be more effective because he's not going to have to guard like a Giannis and have Giannis barreling towards him, which is fine. By the way, I'm not complaining that Giannis is running dudes over. That I don't get either, but that's not important right now. What's important
Don't
is
get what?
why everyone this throughout this series is saying how like Giannis just runs dudes over.
He does.
Like he does, but like that's just how he plays. And it's not really what's the right it to me it's not as toxic as everyone's acting like it is.
Giannis is.
I said this before,
He's.
I'd rather watch Giannis do what he does than watch Harden fall all over the place.
I understand
Or
that.
Embiid fall all over the place.
I've said this time and time again, though. Giannis just has a different whistle. Like he just does, and that's fine. It is what it is. Celtics need to game plan around it, and they figure out how to win around it. But he has a different whistle, and that's
Giannis
how it is.
Giannis plays an honest game, man. He's not out there trying to cheat the system.
No, but he doesn't have to.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
No.
That's
My
why you
point
can
is,
respect him.
this is okay. I'll say this, and I don't want it to be misconstrued as me saying I dislike Giannis or think the refs are bad or blah blah blah. But Giannis doesn't have to cheat the system because he has a different system. Like he doesn't play by the same rules, which is again fine. I love Giannis and I love
Oh,
like
I
his
don't
game.
know.
The whistle is just different. You can't sit there and tell me Giannis's whistle isn't different because it is 100, like 1,000,000%. It's LeBron Heat whistle. He has the LeBron whistle. And again, he doesn't milk it as much as LeBron does, so it's harder to notice, but he just has a different whistle than other people in the league. And again, if there's
I
Bucks fans listening to this, I like Giannis and I'm not complaining because the Celtics need to adapt for it because when players are as great and as amazing as Giannis are, they earn a different whistle. But you can't say he doesn't have one. He just does.
it to me it doesn't feel one-sided like LeBron's whistle used to be. And again, Giannis isn't falling over the place trying to get calls. He's playing an honest game. Now, does he have a different whistle? Yeah, probably. But for whatever reason, it's not bothering me. And I'm Captain Complain.
Well, it's because the Celtics are winning.
Well, they're tied.
Well, they've won some games is my point. But what makes people mad is when he does reckless shit. That's what gets people mad. And the quote unquote reckless shit comes across as him playing really hard, which he is. He just wants to win, so he goes full out all the time. But he makes borderline plays sometimes. And this again, I don't want any of this to be Jack hates Giannis because I don't. I love Giannis. I love Giannis. But when he went for that block on Tatum, it was a good effort. He probably could have had it. It was borderline. It was borderline reckless. He knocked a guy midair, almost hurt him. Same thing happened with Brown. Remember when Giannis put his hand around Brown's neck to apologize? It's because he clipped him midair and got a defenseless guy. Today, Jayson Tatum was on the ground. They were wrapped up for a jump ball. Whistle had blown and Giannis dove on him to fight for the ball. The whistle had blown and he just dove on Jayson Tatum on the ground. Like he makes hustle plays, yes, and I like the way he plays, but sometimes they borderline on recklessness. And that's why some people have an issue with him. And the same thing goes for when he's bowling into the paint because he's so strong and so dominant, again, because he's so amazing that he can just do what he wants sometimes, right? He can get into the paint and run through guys and it'll be a foul on the other team because there's not really much they can do. My brother Henry texted me. He's like, I wish Smart didn't try to take that charge. I wish he went up and contested when he fouled Giannis in transition for the and one. And I said, well, as great as Smart is and as great as any defender in the NBA is, there's nothing you can do at that point. Unless you just give him the dunk, it's going to be a foul on you. Like, because Giannis is just that dominant when he gets downhill. And I mean, if you want to talk about a different whistle, Giannis took about 17 steps, walked all the way back to Boston on the way to the rim on that missed travel call. That was horrendous. And obviously it didn't end up mattering. But even besides that, he just gets a different whistle than the rest of the league. Again, I'm going to keep saying it because I don't want like anything to get mixed up. I love Giannis. I love how he plays. I love him as a player. I love him as a person. He's amazing. He just has a different, whistle. And it is what it is.
He may have the most respectable game out of any superstar.
Well, yeah,
in terms of just like playing an honest game.
That's just because it's his mentality. I understand what you're saying.
He's like I know, like you said, it's a different system, but he's not out there like trying to. I mean, I tweeted the Tatum video today of him falling down a bunch of times. It's not just Tatum that does that. That needs to stop. Guys need to stop falling over on jump shots. Giannis doesn't take a lot of jump shots.
Well,
and Jayson if he does, Tatum there's no one near him.
I understand the flop on one of them, Tatum. Jayson Tatum did get fouled on the other one. The Grayson Allen one, he got fouled. That was a foul.
When is this? The video or are you talking about today?
I don't know the one from today. I don't know if you.
No, I tweeted a video of like some guy like put together a bunch of clips throughout the series of Tatum falling on jump shots that he really wasn't hit on.
He got hit today.
Well, I didn't see him, but
Grayson Allen landed on his foot, and they didn't call it. And they probably don't call it because he does fall a lot. So.
It's just like soft. Like if Tatum's at like I don't know, let's say just for the sake of it, because it's a famous pickup run, like the Space Jam run with all those guys playing basketball, like just pick up. Nobody's doing that. Nobody is just falling over to fall. I'm sorry.
You sound like the old guys that I hate.
No, I'm not. It's just nobody does that. If you go out to the park with your friends and you play basketball, you're not falling down if you take a jump shot and somebody can.
In Tatum's defense, Sam, the refs told him you're not getting calls unless you fall down. So,
yeah. Well, that's a problem in itself. But let's get away from this because I don't feel like complaining about the refs.
My point with Giannis is he doesn't have to do that. Like, and I mean that
you're right.
Because he has a different system. Well, it's not even that. He just doesn't have to because he's so physically forceful that they just call it anyways. Which is, again, it is what it is. Like, it's not me complaining. That's just how it is, and the Celtics have to play around
He's able to put himself in position to go to the basket
because he's a linebacker. It's because he's a linebacker.
No, it's because he's long. Actually, it's a mix.
It's because he's a linebacker.
No, it's a mix of both.
Okay.
He's not just barreling over guys. He's literally taking 2 steps from the 3-point line and walking
his
around.
Arms. Yeah. It's because he's really lengthy.
That's what I mean. He's long. It makes it easy for him to get in a position where he is able to make contact and not have it be awkward or.
I'm not trying to take anything away from Giannis. I'm not trying to say like he's bad. I'm saying he's so good that they just call him.
I'm trying to figure out how it is because I do think you're right. how it is that he is getting a different he's able to play a different game. I don't want to say different whistle. I just think the volume he's able to get himself in easy positions to score to where guys have to either foul him or give him an
It's because
open.
he's great. It's because he's, like, amazing. Like, he's mastered the art of driving downhill, getting to the hoop, and getting
Yeah.
whatever he wants. He's
I'm
just
just
good.
telling you, he's not out there, and I don't think you're disagreeing with me, but this is the
No,
main thing. He's not out there trying to fleece everybody.
he's not. He's not. But
Okay.
he
Now,
just I don't know. Yeah.
this is interesting to me. I'm on Twitter, and
Yeah.
our friend Bobby at Real Bob Manning, go take Game Seven.
Shout
You're
out.
winning the championship. What do you think?
You asking me?
Yep. What do you think? And then I'll say what I
Uh,
think.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
agree. I
I
agree.
don't I think the winner of this series wins the championship.
I agree. I think this has been a
And
dogfight.
it's not gonna be easy. Um, excuse me, sorry. It's not gonna be easy, because I'm personally
You're
I don't wanna
Mr.
say
Heat.
I think I've said I forget who I said this to, I could be more scared of the Heat than the Bucks.
You've said it to me.
Maybe I did. And that might be true, but I don't think the Celtics lose a series if they win this one. And that's a big if. They still have to win game 7. It's not going to be a cakewalk by any means. And then if you get past the Heat, you got probably maybe the Suns, who are probably maybe the best team in basketball. Although I'm still saying I
There's
told you
no
Mavs in
guarantee that
7.
Phoenix is playing that
Did I
game.
tell you Mavs in 7? I've said that so many times and I'll
That
stick
was your
with it.
call. Here we are.
Yeah. So
So I'm not convinced it's going to get any harder than this, man. They are out there battling every night, playing against a guy
mhm.
who you say gets a different whistle, which I don't completely disagree with, but I
It's
really
not
am
a
just
knock. Not a
it's
knock
not
on him.
even a knock. We're trying to figure out how is
Mhm.
that possible? What is he doing that causes that?
It's just how he's built. Like, he's
Yes,
so physically dominant that other people are forced to be just as physical, but that physical wow, I said that like I'm like in school. That
really
physicality
enunciating it. Well,
results
that's
yeah,
how you're
that
supposed to do it.
that physicality results in the refs just calling it because you don't see that type of contact often, and Giannis initiates it. And that's not like saying that it should be a charge, but he initiates contact and seeks out contact so well that the refs are forced to make the call. Which shout out to him. I mean, he's found
But
a way to he's earned himself a different whistle. I'll put it that way. That sounds nicer. He's earned himself a different whistle, which is it is what it is.
I'm going to put it like this: the Celtics are not going to play a better player than Giannis, and the only one that's
I
anywhere near
agree.
close is Luca. That's the
I
only
you
one that's anywhere near close to Giannis, to the point
Mhm,
where you have to completely
mhm.
game plan for them. And we've seen the Celtics completely game plan for Luca. I mean, I was at the KG game where they were throwing doubles at him, which just has not worked well for the Celtics this year against anybody. They tried doubling
Is
Trey
that
Young, they
your
get lit up.
nightmare finals matchup?
Yeah, I just probably don't think it would be enjoyable. But back to the point, nobody on Miami is near even anywhere close to near Giannis. I don't think Devin Booker's at that level. I think as a team, Phoenix is a very good team, and I think Chris Paul makes Devin Booker and everyone else around them better. And well, the Warriors are still very real. I
My
would
thing
say that.
is the last 2 rounds, Brooklyn and Milwaukee, the Celtics have faced superstars. They faced the 2
Mhm.
arguably the 2 best players in the NBA. If they get past this, they're facing the best teams in the NBA, the Heat and the
And some of the
Suns,
best
probably.
coaches.
Yes. Yes, coach of the year, and Eric Spoelstra, who's never won coach of the year, which is kinda crazy considering how amazing he is. But Jimmy Butler is playing like a superstar. I don't
Mhm.
he's obviously not at the level of Giannis in my opinion, but he's playing amazing in these playoffs. I don't know if he's leading scoring. I think Luka is, but he's up there. So it's not going to be an easy series, especially with how well rounded the Heat are. But like you said, with how tough this series has been, with how dominant Giannis has been, and if we're being frank, how much the Celtics have gotten in their own way at times.
Yeah.
I don't know if they play much worse than this. And I just think whoever wins the series is going to be juiced up, amped up enough because they know that they'd beat probably the toughest opponent in their way. On their path
Yep.
to a championship. So I think this year it's going to be Celtics or Bucks. It's going to be whoever wins Game 7.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. One, because
Me
I
too.
think Milwaukee's a pretty likable team. except for
Yeah.
Thanasis, that scrub.
You
And
see him, like, attacking Grant at, like, at the final
that
whistle.
was ridiculous. I wanted to talk about that. I'm glad you brought it up, even though I
Mhm.
kind of brought him up, but I was really thinking about him. Oh, every time out, he looks like a jackass over there dancing or whatever he's doing. But yeah, the game's over. You don't have to be a hardo and like hound the guy and then make him shoot free throws. That is the most annoying thing in basketball to me. The game, there's less than 10 seconds left. It is a double digit game.
You're not impressing anybody. Like
You're not, this isn't a moral thing where you're proud of not giving up, or wow, look at the fight this team has. No, it's you're being a hard ass. If I'm the Celtics, like, that is being discussed. Not that Thanasis is going to see the floor. I hope he does see the floor in Game 7. That means uh, every time he's seen the floor, I think Milwaukee's lost. But
Oh, no. Really? I don't believe that.
maybe Game 1 he played at
Oh,
the
you
end.
mean the series? Oh, I
Yeah.
don't remember him even taking the floor of the series other than tonight. I don't know.
Well, no, he's played garbage time minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Hey, I'll find out. Let's do a deep dive.
But
Analysis.
anyways, I'm remembering that because as a fan, that pisses me off. I hate that.
Mhm.
And Spoelstra does that too, and so does Nick Nurse. They will do that. It's just, ugh, just so annoying. I don't want to say it's disgusting. Like, they're not trying to hurt anybody, but like it's just unnecessary.
He played game 1,
Okay,
game
2,
2, game 4, and
yep,
game
6.
6 today. So
So
he's
they're
1 and
3 and
3.
1.
Yeah.
Not a
Yeah, no,
fan of
that was weird.
Thanasis, who would be washing dishes if his last name wasn't Antetokounmpo, or doing something with his mind, but he wouldn't be playing basketball.
I understood the joke. You're good. Yeah, man. What are you thinking for game 7? I mean, we got quotes coming out. Jayson Tatum on game 7 in Boston, the best atmosphere in the
This
NBA.
atmosphere, which it
We got
is.
Marcus Smart saying that's what it's all about. Like people are hyped up. I expect
Cliches all around.
Jalen Brown, I expect it to be loud. I expect it to be fun. Best 2 words in basketball is game 7. Like, yeah, cliches, but they're not incorrect cliches.
No,
Like
they're not.
I'm so excited and so anxious at the same time for this game 7. And I don't know if I love or hate that it's at 3:30. Maybe get it
I
out of
don't
the
care.
way.
I think on a
But,
Sunday,
oh,
that's
man.
prime time. That is the time for a game. I have no problem with that.
Whew.
I believe
Game 7.
Celtics Cavs in 2008 was a 3:30 game, or at least a day game. I don't know. Don't ask me why I remember that or know that,
Hey,
but I just have a
also,
feeling it was.
I guess Scott Foster not playing was a blessing, maybe.
I don't think it would
Oh,
have
man.
mattered.
Nah.
But Eric Lewis, 15 straight for the boys in green with him
Shout
blowing the
out.
whistle.
Thank you, Eric Lewis.
That is
Beast.
just
Now,
this.
have you
This
seen
is
the
actually becoming an issue for me. That everybody, Jack, you are not like a gambling person, and I'm really not either. Like, I'll do it, but like usually the people that know about the officials and like what the kind of results they have are people betting on the games and using those statistics to influence their wager and where they're putting their money. Now you just have fans of each team complaining every day when the officials are released for whatever game it is. Now today, I was thrilled, one because I got to tweet the Scott Foster video, but also because I know Eric Lewis had won his before today last 14 games when or Celtics had won their last 14 with him officiating. That's a problem that people are starting to like really know what's going on with these guys. And I personally don't think there's like, listen, I love joking about Scott Foster. The only guy I really think is like, if he's out there, something's going down, is Tony Brothers.
Mhm. Nah, there's another guy, Tyler Ford. Hate
Okay.
Tyler Ford.
Okay. But anyways, like, you should not be thinking about the
Mhm.
officials as a fan. That is one of the main things as fans we complain that the players do. And here we are
Yeah.
complaining about the officials or discussing them and who they are.
Yeah, I mean, brutal. You're not wrong with that. Have you seen the meme, or not a meme? The theory. It's like Scott Foster walking up to Suns Mavs game 7 to keep Chris
Yes.
Paul from.
Yeah.
If they put him on that game instead because he missed this one, oh my god.
I don't think they
Just
can. I think it's more
I don't think
likely
so
he's in
either.
Boston on Sunday. He's
Maybe.
not going to be in that. They can't do that.
You say that, but
See, but like, this is what I mean. Like,
I know.
the casual fan knows that Chris Paul has lost his last however many games with Scott. What is it? 15, about the same as
17.
Eric Lewis, 17 straight, or in the playoffs, he's lost all 17 games Scott Foster's refereed. The casual fan kind of knows that. Like, that's not good.
14, sorry, 14.
14. Okay. Well, I was right first. You corrected me.
That might be before his most recent one though, so
It's
just
just, listen, I,
crazy.
I actually like Scott Foster. I think he's hilarious.
I
I
don't think
think
he's
it's
bad.
hilarious that he made a music video.
That was funny. That was
Like,
great.
I'm all for him. Like, good for him, man. He's a star. He's the only official you'll ever see be mic'd up for a game.
This is true.
Yeah, I'm fine
Oh,
with Scott Foster. I
amazing.
think it's all a bunch of crap. At the end of the day, if you go out and you play basketball and you do it well, you're going to win. Or at least
Mhm.
if you lose, the officials shouldn't be the ones influence the game. If you're out there playing well and you lose, the other team played well. So it's not because of the officials.
I agree. Again, wrap it back around. Shout out the Celtics for getting things done. I'm so excited for Game 7, man. I'm gonna be anxious the whole time, but oh boy,
I don't know what I
it's
feel
gonna be
about
good.
Game 7 yet. That's like probably more of a tomorrow feel. I'll definitely be nervous for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm nervous for every playoff game. But
I'm really excited, and I can be excited for this without the nerves. Suns Mavs is gonna be fun. I'm very, very hyped for that game. We don't have to get
well,
too much into them, but that's gonna be
I'll know
sick.
if I care about that game by probably 6 o'clock on Sunday.
Did you see that we can veer off for a second? We talked a lot of Celtics. We can wrap up here in a sec. You see Jimmy Butler after the game?
I did see that. I meant to bring that up when we talked about him.
Mhm.
Good for him. I wish more
So funny.
players would do stuff
It's
like
not
that.
exactly true, but it's
Eh,
funny.
it's pretty close.
Well, no, they offered him a contract. He said no, and then they signed Tobias Harris. Is how it was reported. I saw an article. They
Okay.
that's
Well,
how it was reported.
I think you know more than I do.
That's what I saw from an article. I think I forgot what the source was, but regardless, funny, hilarious moment. I also saw someone tweet say Al Horford needs to be in the conversation too. They paid him a chunk of the money they could have gave Jimmy, which was also funny. Not like knocking Al or anything, but just like bringing up something.
Right.
Uh Very funny. And then our main man Doc Rivers, dude, you you're digging yourself a hole, my guy.
What
That's
did he do? Did he say something or did they
he
just lost?
said he said, you know, for a team like us with no expectations to come in here and do this, and
No
everyone's like,
expectations, your ass.
Excuse me, no expectations. What are you talking about,
What
Doc?
does he mean, no expectations? Does he mean the expectations people had for them when they lost game 5 against Toronto, where they could blow a 3-0 lead? Or does he mean the expectations that the league had when they traded for James Harden? I mean, we came in here on the trade deadline live stream, and I was very upset. I was like, both teams just got better, and they're both out.
Yeah, Doc Rivers says, "When I first got here, nobody picked us to be anywhere." And it's like,
No one picked you to
that's
be anywhere. You were first in the conference, and then Ben Simmons crapped himself
you
against
were on the
Atlanta.
brink of making the first Eastern Conference Finals appearance since 2001. What do you mean no one picked you to be anywhere, Doc? Hello, like people picked you to be everywhere. You were supposed to
You're right. He does not
progress.
make it
Like
easy on himself.
no, and before game, I don't know if it was after or
He's
before.
not
He
going
was
to lose his
basically
job, though.
no. Darren
They
Morey said
came out and said
he's
he's
coming back.
staying.
I don't know if this was before or after. He also said, you know, I think I do a great job, and if you don't, go write about it. Like it's fine. Like it's just, whoa there, buddy. You know, let's calm down. Um, Also, you hear what Joel said?
Oh, he said, yes. Don't tell me. He
Hmm.
said, Harden's not the guy he was in Houston anymore. He's more of a
Yeah,
playmaker now, or something like that.
he said, "I'm sure since we got him, everybody expected the Houston James Harden, but that's not who he is anymore." Which is like,
It's tough.
and then he said he was asked about like Daryl Morey and stuff, and he said the two best moves that Daryl Morey made. He's like signing Drummond and getting Seth Curry, who are the two people that they traded for James Harden. Oh, it's just Philly
Who
in
looks worse
shambles.
there between the two of them?
Uh, Between Doc and Joel?
No,
Doc
between
and Harden?
Embiid and Harden. In
What do you
terms
mean?
of, I mean, listen,
Oh, Embiid. I mean, sorry, Harden. Embiid's in the right. Did you see Harden's stat line?
no, I see a stat line, but here's what you could counter that with. I agree with you. However, if you really wanted to argue it, you could say Embiid threw Simmons under the bus this season. He's now throwing Harden under the bus.
That's
However,
also true.
he's correct to do so. They were
He's
both
right though.
bad. But as a
Harden,
teammate and as a player in the
you
NBA,
gotta chill
that
out.
is not typically something you see.
It's frowned upon. It's frowned upon. Yes.
Yeah, you kind of don't do that publicly, especially at the end of a season. You can do it publicly in November
Mid-season when
to light a fire under your teammates, but not like, hey, we
Mhm.
didn't make it farther in the playoffs because Harden's bad.
And I don't think that's exactly what he was saying. It was just kind of like back passive aggressive. I saw something like Joel's the passive aggressive king. Also,
He didn't need to
uh,
say that.
no, also shout out, not shout out, but like get well soon, Danny Green. That's so brutal, man. That's so tough.
That might be his career.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just
Tore his
never want to
ACL
see
for
that.
those of you that did not see.
And LCL, he's tore two ligaments in his knee.
It's tough, man.
Not great. There's something else I was gonna bring up, but I can't remember. Oh yeah, James Harden. You took 2 shot attempts in the second half of game 6. Like
I did see
just
stat news
oof.
points in the second half. James Harden 0, Ben Simmons 0.
And it was like Ben Simmons scored 2 points in his last 2 fourth quarters in Philly. In James Harden's last 2 fourth quarters in Philly this season, he had 0. So just shambles. But
Harden,
honestly, poor Joel Embiid,
Harden.
man. Poor Embiid.
Well,
He can't. He can't.
yeah, yes
Uh,
and no.
well, just
Poor Embiid, but also like I don't really know what to say. He's not completely like not at fault. Let's not act like he was phenomenal in that series.
he
The
was
game.
also playing with a broken face.
I didn't know you use your face to shoot.
All right, come on. He's playing with a broken face, a torn thumb,
Listen,
bunch of shit.
yeah, I agree, but also, I mean,
No, I know what you're saying though. He's not completely free of blame, but he hasn't. I'll put it this way: he hasn't had the best 2 options for teammates in the past 2 seasons. But whatever, man. Do you
but
think they would have
I
done
want to
better?
circle back to Harden one more time, just because
Yeah.
I want it to really be known. There is no player that I dislike because of the way they play more than James Harden.
Mhm.
There is nobody in the league. I dislike guys more than James Harden, but I don't dislike anybody solely based on what they do on the basketball court, quite like I do James Harden.
Zoe has a very short list of basketball players she adamantly dislikes, and he is on the list. Others on the list include LeBron James and Russell Westbrook. So it's not a
Yeah, it's
terrible list.
not a bad list. I agree. What were you gonna say?
Tough. I was gonna say, do you think they would have done better that series, with Seth Curry and Andre Drummond?
Who?
What do you?
Sixers?
No, the other team that had Seth Curry and Andre Drummond earlier this season.
I
Yes, the Sixers.
completely forgot. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I my brain melted there. Because we were talking. I'm really sorry.
No, you're
Yeah,
good. You're good.
I think they would have. Well, yeah, I actually,
I think they might have
I
pushed it
do
to like a
think
game
they.
7. I also don't think they would have won the series though. I think Miami is going to win that series regardless.
Yeah, because Maxi's still like a good player.
Maxi's filthy.
Curry probably could have played a better role than Harden did,
Mhm.
and Drummond, even though he's not that great, could have been helpful when Embiid was not playing.
Better than DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way. Which is not a very
Yeah.
high bar, but anyways.
That whole thing with the Sixers is just so interesting to me that they can't get out of the second round.
You see Jimmy Butler. I saw someone say the Kings have been to a conference finals more recently than the Sixers, which is so funny.
Jeez, that is tough. Oh my
Very
god,
funny.
that's tough.
Very funny. Do you see the clip of Jimmy Butler? He kind of weaved in and out of a couple Sixers defenders to grab a rebound, and when he was running back, you just see him go Wow, like, damn, they really just let me how did like, their energy's gone, like, they just
I
let
didn't
me
see
grab
that.
that? It's funny, I'll find it and send it to you, but, yeah,
Miami is just an interesting team, and I don't think it's a waste of our time to talk about it a little bit. But it at certain times in that series, in games 3 and 4, they really looked like they were vulnerable to Philadelphia, you know,
yeah,
against a Philadelphia team that really isn't that great.
although, again, the Celtics have to win game 7, but if, it's gonna suck to have to win one in Miami. That's not an
I
easy
don't
place to
think
play
I
there.
don't what do you think it's not what do you mean it's not an easy place to play?
They get up, are you kidding?
No, they're
Miami?
my I Milwaukee's a better environment than Miami is.
Mm, mm, I
I
don't
mean,
know,
they
we'll
got
see.
DJ Khaled running around in Miami. Ooh.
Shut up. Come on,
I
man.
will say about Miami, I do respect they wear the home whites
Yeah.
consistently.
Do they? Is that their thing?
Every game I've watched them play at home, they've worn them in the playoffs.
All right. Well, there you go. I guess we'll see.
Very
Uh,
respectable organization, unlike the Celtics. Cash whores.
all right. Is there anything else you want to bring up before we get out of here?
No, man. Excellent job by the Celtics today. Tatum, excellent. Again, I don't know what it was. I
Oh
just had a
my
feeling.
God.
What is that?
Golden State has 16 turnovers right
What's
now.
the score?
68-69 Golden State. 4 minutes left in the
Oh
third.
my god, my
And they have
buddy took
16
the Memphis
turnovers.
spread. I hope they cover for him. But oh man, I don't know what it was. I had a feeling from what
Yeah.
was said in the press conferences.
Shout out Tatum,
I
man. Oh
literally
my
on the
God.
head. I mean, that's really like him coming out and kind of calling a shot.
Yeah, and you know what? We need him to do it again in game 7. You need that Tatum again for the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah, you need somebody. Doesn't
Even if it's
necessarily
not
have to be him.
46.
It
Well,
you need
probably.
well, here's what you do need before we wrap. We
Mhm.
touched on this many times. You need him to be the guy he was in the fourth quarter.
Yes. Yeah. Smart.
That's when you need him.
I agree.
You
He
need
needs to be
him in
smart.
those minutes. You know what would be really great is if they just
Oh
put
my
the game to
God.
bed right away.
Jordan Poole just got run over. Totally unintentional, but he just got trucked. Holy shit. Sorry. Continue. My bad.
I would really love if they just come out and blew him out.
Yeah. That'd be great. I don't think
Which
that's gonna happen, but
I don't know. I don't think Milwaukee's a team that goes away, as we've seen. I don't know.
yeah.
I'm not going to say anything at this time because I think I need a day to sit on the emotions before I talk about things like that. Because I'll tell you again after game 5, would not have told you good things.
Yeah. I'm glad we didn't record after that one.
Me too,
But
man.
yeah, I think they'll do it. You got to have a good Tatum game. You need to rebound. You need to close out. You need to keep playing hard. Bring it at TD. Come on, the fans are going to be juicing you up. Hoping for good things in Game
Before we
7. But
wrap, actually, let's have a look. Let's
look at
have a
what?
look. How much money people are going to spend to go to that game?
Oh my God! People have asked me like, "Hey, are you going to go to Game 7?" And I'm like,
Are you going to
"Dude,
go to
I don't know."
Game 7 with what money? Your life savings?
That's what I'm saying, man. Starts at $278,
Yes,
which is
that is with
just
fees, and that is to
that
sit with
is
your back against the wall.
brutal. Which I don't even mind, but oh boy, that's terrible. Yeah, I don't think I
So,
could do that.
it's actually not
Yeah.
as bad as I thought it would be, to be honest with
Nah, it's
you.
gonna get worse though. No shot.
One thing I
Just
will say is they need to come up with a way to get. I mean, I guess the prices will do it. People willing to spend a lot of money to go to a game like that
mhm,
are probably devoted fans or devout
mhm.
fans. But I think they need to find a way to get good fans in the building more consistently.
Yeah, you gotta
I
I
don't
don't
know
wanna
how
say
you
lower
do
the
that. There's
maybe
no
you add like 2 sections that are like, okay, these will be okay price sections and you can come in and get a game and I don't know how they would do that though fairly because people just jump on them and
there's no
resell them.
way. There's no way.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
We can
But it would be
dream. But
nice.
anyways, yeah, that'll be it for us. We appreciate the listenership as usual. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll throw it over to Sam.
Yeah, it's about time for me to go to bed, but you are just probably starting your day off because we are dropping this Saturday morning. Maybe you're going to the gym
5 a.m.
or you're
5 a.m.
doing
release every
something.
time.
Maybe driving somewhere. enjoying the win, pumped up about it. But we want to thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching, you're probably watching on Guy Boston or you're watching on Bannertown on YouTube. Either way, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see all of our latest stuff. If you're on Guy Boston, you can see the pre-games. Did you do one today?
We did not enough people,
Yeah, we
but
didn't
we'll
have
be there
enough
for game
people.
7.
I'll
Be
be in
there.
for game 7. I'll be around. I was just not
Yes,
around
sir.
today. I always feel bad when I can't make it. And that's neither here nor there. Make sure you subscribe because you will see our pre-game game 7. And if you're on the streaming, also leave a like. If you're on the streaming services, make sure you follow. That way, if Jack forgets to tweet the pod, you can get it. And if he remembers, it'll be at Jack Simone NBA on Twitter, and you can follow me at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's our show for you.